Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has adopted a pragmatic approach in her dealings with both the BRICS group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and the European Union. This stance reflects Italy's position within the G7, a group of the world's most advanced economies. By extending invitations to BRICS members Brazil, India, and the United Arab Emirates, Meloni underscores Italy's aim of fostering international collaboration and addressing global issues through inclusive dialogue. If you are new to our channel, please leave a like as well as a sub so you never miss another video. At the 2024 G7 Summit, Meloni invited leaders from multiple developing nations, including India, Algeria, Brazil, Jordan, Kenya, Mauritania, Tunisia, Turkey, and the UAE. This approach signals her dedication to incorporating varied viewpoints into G7 discussions, recognizing the critical roles these countries play in the global economic and political landscapes. Although her actions might appear to draw these nations away from the BRICS framework, Meloni's primary goal is to challenge the EU's perspectives while creating opportunities for the Global South within the predominantly Western G7 framework. This strategy has sparked criticism among other G7 leaders, particularly from French President Emmanuel Macron, who has voiced clear disapproval of Meloni's approach. Meloni has openly criticized certain EU policies, describing the Union as an overbearing bureaucratic entity and advocating for more transparent and democratic processes in decision-making, especially concerning high-level EU appointments. A key aspect of Meloni's strategy involves positioning Italy as a conduit for African energy exports to Europe. She has committed €5.95 billion to this effort, seeking to establish Italy as a hub for African gas and energy distribution to the European market, partly to offset reduced energy imports from Russia amid the ongoing Ukraine conflict. Her plans include engaging the private sector and international organizations like the EU to advance these projects. Additionally, her administration has prioritized channeling 70% of Italy's climate fund to Africa, reflecting her commitment to supporting sustainable development in the region. This initiative aligns with Italy's broader vision of promoting inclusive economic growth and stability in Africa, recognizing its importance for mutual prosperity. Giorgia Meloni, born on January 15, 1977, in Rome, Italy, has been serving as the country's prime minister since October 2022, marking the first time a woman has held this position. She leads the Brothers of Italy party, known as Fratelli d'Italia or FDI, which is characterized by its right-wing populist and nationalist stance, with roots tracing back to Italy's post-fascist political movements. Meloni's political journey began in her youth when she joined the Italian Social Movement or MSI, a neo-fascist party established after World War II. She later became a prominent figure in the National Alliance, the MSI's successor, which sought to distance itself from fascist associations. In 2012, Meloni co-founded the Brothers of Italy, aiming to create a national conservative platform. Meloni's policies reflect strong conservative positions, particularly on social issues. She opposes same-sex marriage and adoption by LGBTQ+ couples, advocating instead for traditional family structures. She has also been vocal against globalism, emphasizing national sovereignty and cultural identity. While Meloni exhibits Eurosceptic tendencies, criticizing various European Union policies and advocating for greater national autonomy within the bloc, she acknowledges Italy's integral role in the EU. Her approach seeks to balance pursuing nationalist objectives and engaging in collaborative efforts with European partners. Initially, Meloni's administration adopted a hardline stance on immigration, implementing policies to restrict arrivals and expedite deportations. However, recognizing Italy's demographic challenges and labor shortages, her government has recently introduced measures to facilitate legal migration pathways. This shift aims to attract foreign workers essential for sectors experiencing workforce deficits, indicating a pragmatic adaptation to Italy's socio-economic needs. In December 2024, Meloni announced her resignation as president of the European Conservatives and Reformists Party, a position she had held since 2020. She cited her inability to dedicate sufficient time to the role due to her responsibilities as Prime Minister, expressing support for Polish politician Mateusz Morawiecki as her potential successor. Under Meloni's leadership, Italy has pursued agreements with countries like Albania to manage migration flows. These initiatives involve transferring migrants to centers in Albania for processing, aiming to deter illegal immigration. However, these policies have faced legal challenges, with an Italian court invalidating the detention of migrants sent to Albania in October 2024, ruling that the country could not be considered a safe third country for such purposes. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has expressed strong objections to Ursula von der Leyen's potential re-election as President of the European Commission, aligning with her broader political strategy and Italy's evolving stance within the European Union. As the leader of the far-right Brothers of Italy party, Meloni has criticized von der Leyen's leadership on issues such as migration and economic policy. Reports suggest that von der Leyen sought to temper EU criticism of Italy to gain favor, leading to accusations of politicizing EU mechanisms. Meloni's coalition partner, Matteo Salvini of the League Party, has also been vocal against von der Leyen, reflecting broader dissatisfaction within Europe's right-wing factions. Salvini has criticized von der Leyen's policies, particularly regarding the automotive sector, describing them as devastating mistakes and calling for a change in direction in her potential second term. The European People's Party, EPP, has distanced itself from forming alliances with Meloni's group, complicating von der Leyen's re-election prospects and highlighting tensions among EU political blocs. Despite these challenges, Meloni has stated that she can continue to work with von der Leyen, emphasizing ongoing cooperation. This complex dynamic underscores the intricate interplay between national politics and EU leadership, with Meloni's stance potentially influencing Italy's role within the EU and the broader political landscape. The relationship between China and Italy has evolved significantly over the centuries, transitioning from ancient cultural exchanges to robust modern economic partnerships. Interactions between China and Italy date back to ancient times, notably through figures like Marco Polo, the Venetian explorer whose travels to China in the 13th century fostered early cultural and commercial exchanges. Formal diplomatic relations between the two modern nations were established on November 6, 1970, when Italy recognized the People's Republic of China, prompting other European countries to consider similar moves. In recent decades, economic ties between China and Italy have strengthened considerably. In 2022, bilateral trade reached approximately $73.5 billion, with China exporting goods worth $56.1 billion to Italy and importing $17.4 billion worth of Italian products. This trade dynamic has resulted in a trade surplus favoring China. The primary exports from China to Italy include broadcasting equipment, $4.63 billion, computers, $1.67 billion, and trunks and cases, $1.17 billion. Conversely, Italy's main exports to China comprise packaged medicaments, $1.36 billion, cars, $1.01 billion, and trunks and cases, $721 million. Over the past 5 years leading up to 2022, Chinese exports to Italy have grown at an annualized rate of 11.9%, while Italian exports to China have increased by 2.4% annually. In 2019, Italy became the first G7 nation to join China's Belt and Road Initiative, a global infrastructure development strategy aimed at enhancing trade and economic growth across Asia and beyond. This decision was met with criticism from allies, particularly the United States, who viewed the BRI as a means for China to expand its geopolitical influence. By December 2023, Italy officially withdrew from the BRI, citing a lack of significant economic benefits and growing concerns over China's expanding global presence. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, who had previously described Italy's participation in the BRI as a serious mistake, led the decision to exit the initiative. Despite withdrawing from the BRI, Italy expressed its intention to maintain strong bilateral relations with China. Italian officials emphasized that other G7 nations have robust trade relationships with China without being part of the BRI, suggesting that Italy could pursue similar avenues. China's response to Italy's withdrawal was measured, with the foreign ministry stating its firm opposition to smearing that damages Belt and Road cooperation, indicating China's desire to continue collaborative efforts despite Italy's departure from the initiative. Despite exiting the BRI, Italy continues to seek robust economic relations with China. In July 2024, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni visited Beijing, meeting with President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Keqiang. During this visit, both nations signed a 3-year action plan to strengthen their comprehensive strategic partnership, focusing on sectors such as electric mobility and renewable energy. Prime Minister Meloni emphasized the need to rebalance trade relations, noting that Italian investments in China are triple those of Chinese investments in Italy. She advocated for the removal of obstacles hindering Italian products in the Chinese market, aiming for a more equitable trade relationship. Cultural ties remain a cornerstone of China-Italy relations. The 700th anniversary of Marco Polo's travels was commemorated in 2024, highlighting the long-standing historical connections between the two nations. Academic collaborations and cultural exchanges continue to flourish, fostering mutual understanding and shared heritage. Italy maintains robust trade relationships with BRICS nations, particularly India, Brazil, and the United Arab Emirates, each characterized by unique dynamics and significant economic exchanges. Eastern nations and BRICS represent potential opportunities for Italy to diversify its economic and geopolitical relationships. Economically, Italy could benefit from access to vast markets in China and India for its exports, including luxury goods, machinery, and pharmaceuticals. Strengthening trade ties with BRICS could reduce Italy's over-reliance on EU markets. Additionally, energy security could be enhanced through partnerships with BRICS countries like Russia, which provides natural gas, and Brazil, a key player in biofuels. Italy's brief participation in China's Belt and Road Initiative in 2019 underscored its interest in enhanced infrastructure and connectivity, although it exited the BRI in 2023. Italy may still explore strategic projects with BRICS countries to foster development. Politically, alignment with BRICS could offer Italy greater leverage in global geopolitics by diversifying its alliances and reducing dependency on the EU. Unlike the EU, BRICS does not impose stringent policy frameworks, which could allow Italy more flexibility in pursuing its national interests. Technological and defense collaborations with BRICS nations, particularly India and China, could also complement Italy's industrial strengths. However, there are significant challenges to such an alignment. Partnering with BRICS might strain Italy's relationships with traditional Western allies, particularly the United States and NATO, which are crucial for Italy's defense and economic stability. Geopolitical risks also arise, especially in the context of Russia's ongoing conflict in Ukraine, which could expose Italy to sanctions or political backlash. Italy's commitments as an EU member further constrain its ability to make unilateral economic or political decisions, particularly when engaging with nations perceived as rivals to Western democracies. Rather than a full pivot toward the East, Italy might adopt a dual alignment strategy, deepening trade and investment ties with BRICS while maintaining its commitments to EU principles. This approach could focus on specific sectors, such as renewable energy, artificial intelligence, and infrastructure, allowing Italy to collaborate with emerging economies without alienating Western partners. At the same time, relationships with Eastern nations could enhance Italy's negotiating position within the EU on critical issues like fiscal policies and migration. Italy's evolving role in global politics reflects its search for a balance between traditional Western alliances and emerging Eastern opportunities. While a wholesale shift toward BRICS seems unlikely, the diversification of partnerships may become an increasingly strategic priority for Italy in the coming years. Thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like as well as a sub so more people can see this.